Hello and welcome to Sell Your Solution. And we're going to get right into it. Welcome to week number 1. Before we get started into the selling techniques, it's extremely important that you know your niche. If you don't know who your target audience is, what keeps them up at night, how you find them, and what kind of pain points really drive consideration and urge them to make a decision now rather than next week or next month, then you cannot sell effectively. So that's why this is what we're going to get right in week number 1. And then with that knowledge, we're going to pack that in our sales scripts. We're going to pack that in our strategy and in our marketing outreach. So really quick, we need to make sure that you have a product market fit. And what is a product market fit? A product market fit is if you have an alignment between what the customers want, what the competitors don't have or don't have as good as you, and a good value. And right in the middle, when all these align, you have a good fit. That's kind of the traditional model. But I go even one step further, and that is if your customers don't scream when you tell them what your offer is, you don't really have a product market fit yet. And what I mean by that is you might have a good offer, but the way you're presenting it, it's not a product market fit. If they don't scream and go, "Oh my God, when can I have that?" your work is not done in terms of doing your homework. And this module will be designed for you to get there so that your customer goes, "Oh my God, that's exactly what I need." So we have 3 different components here. First one is your niche, then your target client and your offer. And right away you see that your offer is not necessarily your niche. And we'll talk about the language of the clients, which is super important, which most people get wrong, which is what's their problem actually. What their problem is not what you think it is. So you might know that they're not creating success in their business because they have the wrong mindset. But in their mind, they don't go walking around in the world saying, "Oh, my problem is I have the wrong mindset." And that makes a huge difference. So we'll dive into that, and that will be powerful for you. So first, your niche. Before we get into this, let's clear up some beliefs that have been holding you back, possibly. So some people think, well, if I have a niche, then I'll be losing money or I'll sell less. And I want to tell you here and now that is wrong. Because chances are maybe you've been trying to sell your solution and you've been fairly broad. You know, something like, I sell to entrepreneurs and help them reach the next level. And what I say is that's still pretty broad. And how's that working for you so far, right? It's not taking off. And the reason is people don't know exactly what you're giving them and why they should care. So it's not niche down enough. And if you have any doubts about that, I really highly recommend the book 1000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly. That book talks about the fact that you don't even need 10,000 or 100,000 followers on Instagram or anything. If you have 1,000 true fans, that's more than enough to build an extremely successful, even 7-figure business. Because those 1,000 true fans that are in your niche, they don't just like your stuff, they love your stuff. And when someone loves your stuff and it's so specific for them, they will become your biggest marketing asset. They will give you word of mouth, which is always the best kind of advertising because it's free, it's authentic, and it gets the highest conversion. And you don't get the same results with 100,000 people kind of liking your stuff. than you get with 1,000 people truly loving your stuff. So there's also a good podcast episode from Tim Ferriss about that, where he interviews Kevin Kelly about the 1,000 True Fans. I highly recommend that. If you're still having problems with wrapping your head around why you need a niche and why you need to serve a certain audience, then that is the book for you. And also, I want to break that belief in you. Everyone has to love my product. I completely disagree. It's actually better for some people to hate your product and some people to love it, as long as some people really care about it. And for some people, it's the best offer. Because if some people don't hate your stuff, it's not even anything cutting edge. It's nothing that's polarizing. It's probably nothing new. And it doesn't even evoke any kind of reaction in people. It is better to have an offer or a niche that's controversial, that has some haters, but the point is some people love it, and those will be your 1,000 true fans that you need to build your empire. All right, the next misbelief I want to clear up is I will sell less if I have a niche. Well, let's go through this example here really quick. You are a makeup artist and you have somewhat of a following on Instagram, and you notice that some of your customers come from there. And you're wondering, damn, this is really working, but how could I scale this? There's so much potential. And then you come across 3 offers on the internet through Facebook ads, for example. One offer says, how to grow your business online with social media. Well, it sounds interesting, but it's definitely not jerking you from your chair going, oh my God, that's me. Second offer is how to grow your business through Instagram. That's really interesting. Definitely more activating, right? We would be much more likely to take an action on that offer. Or offer number 3, how to grow your business through Instagram as a makeup artist. Bam. Now, if you're that person, and because the offer was defined, they knew who to target. They targeted business owners that are makeup artists. Now this is so specific, it just comes at the right time for you. You are much more likely to buy this course instantly because, hey, it's kind of a no-brainer. That's exactly your problem. This is what you want. This is what you need. And this is how it sells. So the misbelief to think that you would sell less if you have a niche is wrong, because think about it. Even if there's only 500 makeup artists in the United States that have an Instagram account, which is a gross underestimation, 500 times 2,000 or 5,000, whatever your course may be, that's a lot of money to start off with in your first launch. And once you have those 1,000 true fans, or even 500 or 200, it doesn't matter. They will continue to invest in your business because they love your product. You've helped them. So that is just another avenue that I highly recommend. Niche down as much as you can so you can give your audience a wow offer. So another common misbelief that I really want to shatter here is that when you pick a niche, you will lose out on money. So let's take a look at that with a really simple example. Let's go back again to the makeup artist who wants to grow their business. There's 3 different courses that they come across. One is how to grow your business online with social media. One is how to grow your business through Instagram. And one is how to grow your makeup business through Instagram. Now, which one of those do you think is worth the most to the person, the makeup artist coming across this offer? I'll just assigning random numbers here, but for the first offer, $200 seems pretty fair in comparison or relatively to what I perceive as the highest value for our prospect, which would be how to grow your makeup business through Instagram, which could be valued at 1,000 in comparison. Why is that? Well, people pay for the experience and the convenience. They don't want the solution for everything. They can only focus on so much. They have a concrete problem. They have an Instagram following and they want to monetize it. So they do not want to go through a 50-hour course of how to do it with Facebook, how to do it with YouTube, and then also how to do it with Instagram. It's too much information, and also, let's be realistic, we all have limited resources, and there's just not enough time in the day to go through all of that and then figure out the information that's just for Instagram. Even for you as a course creator, you can only go so deep. So when you specifically design a course for just this problem, and then you put this offer in front of the people who just have this problem, Instagram owners that have a makeup business, guess what? It's gonna be a hit, because that's exactly what they want, and they're gonna be willing to pay more for it than even just how to grow your business through Instagram. Even though more people could technically benefit from it, if you target this to the right people, they will pay more for this than if you kept it broader. And that's the joke. This is the mindset that we have to get over, the wrong mindset to think, oh, we start broad and then we specify. Oh no. We start specific and then we broaden it up. That's how it goes. Second, another misbelief is, like I just said, shouldn't I start broad and then specialize? So just another example to illustrate this, in case there's any doubt in your bones. If you are gonna get a nose job from a surgeon, I assume, to which one would you go first, and how quick would you make that decision? Let's say you see a general surgeon, and then a plastic surgeon, and then a plastic surgeon who tells you all that he's been doing over 30 years in his career was to specialize on nose jobs. Right. It's the plastic surgeon who specializes on nose jobs. Why is that? Because we know he can do it. He's done it a million times. He has his formula. He has the experience. There's no guesswork. He has a procedure that works. The general surgeon, out of 100 surgeries, maybe 5 of those are nose jobs, so you are less likely to spend as much on it. And the same goes for your solution. If all that you do is giving tips on how to grow your business on Instagram, you are going to be perceived as a plastic surgeon specializing in nose jobs, and people are going to be able and willing to give you a lot of money, way more than they would give a general surgeon or a general social media generalist. If they wanted a course on general social media business growth, it'd be valued at much less than the specialized one. And I'm assuming for you it'd be the same. Maybe you'd pay the general surgeon $5,000 to do the surgery, the plastic surgeon $10,000, but the guy specializing in nose jobs, maybe it's worth $15,000 to you. And that's totally okay, because we're buying from specialists, and the most beautiful thing is we buy so much easier and faster from specialists. And that's where I want to get you to. You shouldn't even have to sell anybody on your solution. At that point, when you talk to your target audience, it's already a match. So all that happens at that point is a transaction. And that's where most people get it wrong. They think that it's all about saying the right thing and manipulating people and putting them under pressure and creating scarcity. Well, that's nice, and if you throw that in there, you're gonna definitely sell more. But ideally, and in the real world of a good seller, you don't need any of that, because you are in front of the people that actually have your problem and you can solve it. So once you can communicate that clearly to them and evoke pain in them that they actually have, remind them of the pain of keeping that problem, the thing sells itself. Another common misbelief is you'll be tied to your niche. Now, why is that not the case? Again, in our example, once people have bought the course How to Grow Your Business on Instagram as a makeup artist, and they liked it, they got the value out of it, guess what? once you put out the next course with how to grow your business on YouTube as a makeup artist, they are much more willing to buy from you, in a heartbeat, in fact. And they're gonna buy from you much rather and way easier than from anybody else putting out how to grow your business on YouTube or how to grow your business as a makeup artist in general on social media. So going broad after you've been niched down is extremely easy. In fact, it's easier than anything because at that point you already have a fan base, you have buy-in, you have word of mouth, but the other way around does not work well at all. So at the end of the day, I think you see it clearly already. Knowing your niche, knowing who your target audience is, what you can accomplish for them, what makes you different, that's the stuff that makes your audience go, hell yeah, that's exactly what I need. And that is the goal. You gotta get a hell yeah, because if it's not a hell yeah, it's a maybe later, and a maybe later means usually it's never gonna happen. So if someone tells you, yeah, that's really nice, let me think about it maybe in a month from now, it's 100% not gonna happen. So you gotta get people to a hell yeah, otherwise it's not gonna happen. And how do you get them there? With total clarity and persistence. And I'm gonna give you the tools in the next chapters here. So how do you find your niche? First, you write down who specifically do you serve. Is it business owners? Is it people that want to lose weight? Is it people that want to improve their love life? Is it parents? Is it students that want to be better at school? Who is it? What are the demographics of them? And also, where are they at in their journey? Beginning, middle, end, very successful, not successful, failed. Is it about reaching the next level? Or is it about starting it all? Those are things you want to get very specific on. Next, you gotta define what problems specifically do you solve. Now we're going to talk about this later. You don't have to overanalyze it because the people you're talking to actually don't know what their problem is in the most cases, but you want to know what problem you're solving so that you know that your program can actually help them. So analyze the problem of your target audience and write down what problem you're solving for them so you can then refer to it. Next, you want to specify how you serve them. Again, it's not so much important for how you're going to address them, but it's important to think about. How do you serve them and what makes you different? How do you specialize in it? What are your qualifications? So you want to tell them, why is it you? What kind of special process, method, procedures have you developed that make you stand out from all the other competitors? Why do you have something that they have not figured out yet themselves? Make them feel that and try to come up with something that is unique and special. So for example, I will teach you how to grow your business by using Facebook ads is not a very unique qualification or a standout slogan. And further, when you pick how you're going to serve them, you better be able to back it up with why specifically you. So if you're saying, okay, with Facebook ads or with specific kind of Facebook ads, what specializes you in this? Have you worked at Facebook? Have you managed $1 million in Facebook ad spend in an agency? How many years of experience do you have in marketing? Those are things you want to write down, you want to have handy, because they're going to be needed throughout the definition of your niche. Okay, so if you're starting to think broad about this, try to meet all these three elements. Your niche should be ideally something that you love, because you're gonna need passion to go through the first weeks of developing this thing, launching it, talking to people. It's got to be fun for you, otherwise you're not going to be persistent enough, and it takes a little bit of persistence to break through the first barriers. Second, it should also be something that you are good at, or something that you can be good at least, so that you can give the results, that there's going to be a word of mouth of the people who go through your program, they love it, and they bring you more business. And they give you that encouragement to keep going, develop new stuff, and really, show that you can give value back. And the third part is, the offer's got to be around something that people are willing to spend money on. If you are serving a problem that's not urgent enough for your target audience, that they're gonna spend money on, then you'll never be able to sell it, and it's probably not gonna be able to sustain itself. So pick a problem that really bugs people, that they're passionate about, that is gonna cost them a lot of money if they don't fix it, or that they want to fix like nothing else, because that's going to determine how much money you can ask for your programs. And so in the ideal world, you have the intersection of all three: something you love, you're good at, and people are willing to spend money on. That should be your offer. If you don't have one of these three, it's not a good offer. It's not going to be very sustainable. Alright, so I want to give you an example of what a successful niche could look like, just in case you're completely blanking and you don't know where to start. So I'm going to use this formula to kind of illustrate the point. So who specifically do you serve? Let's say medical device companies. What problems specifically do you solve? Well, your program is going to help medical device companies close $500,000 or more each year in sales. And how are you going to do that? You're going to show them how to do that on LinkedIn without having to pay for ads. Now that is a unique approach that's very specific and niche down. It's not just social media, but it's LinkedIn, and it's with a caveat without having to pay for ads. So that's a really good proposition. And why specifically you? Or what makes you different? What makes your offer different? Well, everyone else that is selling programs like this or marketing, they're usually pitching ad funnels to companies. And your offer is an alternative that doesn't require ads. So notice how we have in industry medical device companies that is loaded with money, that they're definitely able to spend money. Second of all, the pain is high. They have pressure. They need to make their profit margins. So they want to close more business, and they're definitely willing to invest in it. And then it's extremely unique, it's specific, and it's different than the competition. And also the outcome that they're getting is extremely specific. So that combination, do you see how specific it is and how precisely it's written down? Your offer needs to be exactly that. It needs to be a bullet-proof formula where you answer every single question with 100% certainty. The outcome needs to be measurable. Your unique selling point needs to be different so that you can sell your program successfully. Here's another really good way of writing down your niche or narrowing down your niche. This is our value statement. So you can just fill this out with I help, and then you insert who you help. Next, you put in do, what do you do for them, so that, and then you insert the result that they can expect measurably from working with you. Unlike, you insert the alternatives. For example, unlike people who need ad funnels to create this business. And then because, and then your distinction, and you can add any kind of qualification, any kind of work experience, results that you have generated, etc. in there. So really take the sentence. I have worksheets for you later on where you can fill this out. So this right now is just our lecture part, and then we get into the worksheet section where you can fill all this out. So now you're probably asking yourself, when do I know that I actually nailed my niche? Possibly, maybe you've already finished that first part earlier in your initial planning and you thought you nailed your niche. And chances are, if you had a hard time selling it or making any progress, or you felt stuck, that you did not nail your niche. And I'm going to tell you what the feedback or what the ultimate proof is to know that you nailed your niche. It's when someone pays you money for your offer. That is the ultimate feedback test. So that's great if you can get there, but before we get there, and to increase our chances to get there, what we will do is we will get feedback from people. We will be talking to people, tell them what our offer is, and get feedback. And you know that you succeeded when they say something along the lines of, oh my God, that's me. Yes, I need that. That's exactly me. You know, I'm stuck with that. When you describe their symptoms and they go, yes, that's exactly what I need. So again, in the worksheet section, I have an exercise in there so that you can check that off and move forward and roll out your program ASAP. So while we're here, I'd love to just clear up some more beliefs that we have to let go in order to really do a good job in this section. Maybe as you are going through this, there's some beliefs that come up. Beliefs that are holding you back, so we have to shatter them right here and there. And that is, I'm afraid that when I don't pick the right niche, that something will go wrong or something bad will happen. I'm telling you right now, not picking a niche and not picking a very clearly defined niche-y niche is worse than picking any niche. Literally arbitrarily niching down to say, hey, I'm just going to focus on, for example, showing law firms how to increase their revenue, or medical practices how to increase their revenue. Pick anything in a random list of industries and combinations. That's still better than being indecisive, because once you're indecisive, you cannot move a parked car, right? Then you cannot adjust, you cannot test, you cannot take that feedback and pivot. In the meantime, while you're still overthinking, analysis paralysis, someone else has already launched that program, gotten feedback, tweaked it, and is making 100K up just with this program in a few months. So do you want to be that person that's still sitting there in the garage and parked? Or you want to throw in your first gear and start rolling, get some feedback, optimize, and relaunch it if needed. Tweak it. It's okay, I give you permission. But you gotta make a decision, move on. Because I can tell you one thing as an entrepreneur, no one will ever give you permission. No one ever will tell you, this is a great idea, you should move forward with this. You just gotta do it. And you just gotta move forward. That's it. Easy as that. When you fall, you pick yourself up and you keep going. Another misbelief that we have to let go here in this session is, if someone else is already doing this, then I can probably not do it. That's a really bad misbelief, because I'm telling you one thing. If you see someone doing what you just thought up that you want to do, that you're really passionate about, it's actually a good thing. It means that the chances are high that there's someone out there who's willing to pay money for this. So that means that you can be successful in it too. Good news. If, on the other hand, you don't find anybody even remotely offering what you're offering, chances are maybe something's wrong with it. Either it's illegal or people are willing to pay money for it. So that is something that I would investigate and really find out, why is it that people are not willing to pay money for it. Alright, and in case you are still in the dark, I just want to give you some examples of really successful niches for coaching courses. Maybe you've already gone through some of these exercises and you're thinking to yourself, damn, Now I'm actually more confused than before I got into this, and maybe I have to rethink the whole thing. That's okay. That's really okay, because guess what? If some of these things are not giving, for example, if you're not passionate about it, you are not good at it, and or people are not willing to pay money for it, it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna give you some examples here of industries that are very profitable, that people are definitely willing to pay money for it. If you have a good offer, you're gonna sell it. Number one, anything related to fitness and weight loss. So anything in the health domain, people are definitely spending money on that. Second of all, of course, anything related to dating, relationships, and love, people are spending a lot of money on it. For example, courses about how to find your soulmate, how to find the person you're gonna marry, how to identify a jerk in a bunch of people that you're dating, or how to break up in an abusive relationship, how to overcome the grief in a divorce. There's endless opportunities to create courses around that. The same for fitness and weight loss. How to lose 50 pounds, how to lose 10 pounds, how to get ready for your bodybuilding competition, how to survive on a ketogenic diet, you name it. People spend money on this all the time. Money, that's a really easy one. So anything regarding saving money, making money, investing money. And the beauty of that is you can pretty much calculate for them what their return on investment is. If they're investing in your solution and they're doing your homework and they're going through your assignments and they're going through your whole steps, then they can expect a certain kind of savings. Or if you're giving investment tips, they know that this is going to pay off. This is a very easy to articulate benefit to your customers. Fourth is hobbies. People that are already super into golf, they're already spending thousands of dollars in it. If you can help them have more fun or find better places or equipment or savings on equipment, they're definitely going to be able to spend money on that. And fifth, a big one, very much growing right now, is spiritual development. So all these are super viable options, but again, the sky's the limit. I didn't list all of them, but those are good ones to consider if you don't know where to start at all. Awesome. And now we're coming to our worksheet session. So all the following slides that have this little icon on it with the booklet and the pencil means that it's time for you to get active and do the exercises. And by that I mean really writing all the stuff down, taking your time, meditating on it, getting feedback, revising, adding more, going back in the lectures and really thinking and checking whether you have it complete, because this is going to be the basis, or the check-in rather, for our coaching. And again, if you can't get those basics right, it's going to be really hard for you to sell the course. So I really want you to nail all the worksheets. None of them are optional. They're all mandatory. In the end, the success is yours. I'm not going to come and control whether you did all your homework, but obviously you want to walk away with the results. So you own the input, you own the output, and whatever you put into your business is what you get out. So I trust that you're going to do your best, because I know that you're ambitious and I know that you're determined, and that's all that it takes. Great. Alright, so in this worksheet, you're going to fill out exactly what we discussed in the course. Who do you serve? What specific problem? And by specific, it needs to be specific. So for example, how can you reach the next level is not a specific problem. The next level, what is that? Is that buying a house? Is that reaching financial independence? Is that moving out of your parents' house? Is that getting a promotion? Is that getting married? What is that next level? You have to be specific about it. Then next, how specifically do you serve them? What's your approach? What's different about it? And then why specifically you? Put that in that worksheet. No skipping of this exercise. Next, you're going to fill out this value statement. We went over this. Just fill it out and have it ready for our coaching session. This is absolutely mandatory. And if you feel like you are not clear on it yet, spend some more time with it. Go back in the course, listen to the lecture, because nothing, absolutely nothing is going to substitute you nailing this value statement. If you don't have this, you cannot successfully proceed into the other steps. This needs to be bulletproof. Next in our worksheets is get some testimonials, and get them early because it takes time. If you want to sell your solution, no one's going to buy from you if you have no credibility yet. So if you are a coach that is just starting out, this is basically your beginning product, your beginning clientele, maybe you come from a different industry, you absolutely need to get testimonials. So if you don't have them yet, reach out to your target audience, a smaller scope of the product, and offer it to them. Find at least 5 people that you can deliver value to that's very similar, if not your product. Do it for free, get their testimonials so you can use that in your marketing material. If you do not have any testimonials, credibility, maybe not even a website, then it's going to be a tough sale. People want to have references. Ideally, video or in person, word of mouth, that would be the best, obviously. And then really capture those testimonials. Get it on your Yelp, get it on your Google My Business, get it on your Facebook page, screenshot it, put it on your website, share it, record a video, and really let them share the amazing results that you're able to get for them. Maybe in that test round, in your little beta for the testimonials, you're going to find, I want to tweak my offer a little bit. Maybe I want to focus more on this versus the other. For promotions, again, maybe it's more about negotiating perks at work rather than getting a salary increase. This will be super crucial. Definitely do not skip this. If you think you can just gloss over this, this is preparing you to sell. You're not going to be able to sell with no credibility, with no backup, with no resources or references. So this needs to start now because we don't have much time. And so you got to start doing the work immediately. Reach out to people and get at least 5 solid, great testimonials. And now we come to the ultimate test of your niche. Did you nail your niche? Like we discussed, the best test for that is to get feedback from people. So go ahead and go on your contact list in your Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, go through your business cards and reach out to at least 10 people, and ask them whether they would be able to participate in a 5-minute feedback interview regarding your program. And the goal here is to get at least 5 conversations going. Don't stop if you have less than 5. If you have to reach out to 20 people to get 5 conversations, then reach out to 20. If it needs 30, then do that. But you want to verify the very value statement that you have written down earlier. And this is so crucial because this is where you tweak your offer. This is where you tweak your pitch. So then you can deliver it to the real prospects with confidence and you know it's going to work. So I help who to do what so that result, unlike the alternatives, because of, and then insert your distinction. Whatever you wrote in there in the earlier worksheet, that's what you're going to pitch to them. And you just want to gain their feedback. They should be in your target audience. Find out whether it's a yay or a nay for them. And if it's a nay, find out what you could change or what would be more of interest, and then work that into your value statement. Awesome. So now we have progressed to the Your Target section of the program. We really want to understand who is your target. There are different kind of target customers that you can speak to in your course. Some of you guys might be talking to target business owners. Those would be people that have a small business or medium-sized business, or maybe big CEOs that are very busy. You want to define in your value statement and in your persona for your target, what kind of business is it? Is it a Fortune 500 business? Is it a mom and pop shop? Is it the owner? Or is it maybe an entry-level person at that business? What kind of business owner or employee are you talking about? If you're giving relationship advice, you have to obviously specify what phase of the relationship are you targeting. So is it for people that have just gotten together, for people that have been in a relationship for 10 years and are looking to refresh their relationship? Or is it for people that are thinking about divorce, or that are in an abusive relationship even possibly? Do you see? The differences are so large just within relationship advice. And that difference is the difference between making it and not making it. Be real specific. You can even say dating advice for 20-year-olds that are looking to find the love of their lives, for females specifically. You know, that would be a great niche because it's specific. Age does play a role in this industry, and there's a clear goal and outcome, and it's even targeted to females, where you can say, okay, I have the expertise because I am happily married and I know how to go through that process. Executives. If you are targeting those, for example, think about what kind of seniority level do they have. Are they on a CXO level? Are they CEO or CMO? Are they entry level? What kind of problems can you fix for them based on their seniority level? It will vary very, very widely. If you're targeting to the fitness industry, the differences are very huge as well. You know, just to say, get in shape, that's not super specific, because some people need to lose 50 pounds to get in shape. Some people want to just lose the last 10 pounds that they will just not shed. Some people might be underweight and their goal is really to gain weight. Obviously, the method and the prescription would be very different for those three. Some people are already below 3% body fat and they just want to get ready for their bodybuilding competition. Very, very vastly different. And it's crucial to define exactly who your target is, at what stage they are, and with that stage comes the problems, the challenges, etc. Now, when you're defining the target, it's great to be specific, but don't unnecessarily limit the target client. What I mean by that is, for example, if you're giving business advice, and you want to teach people how to grow their business, maybe to get the first client, it really doesn't matter whether they're 25 to 35 or 35 to 45 in order to teach them how to gain that first client. Age really does not matter in that regard. Their language. So become cognizant of the kind of language your target group is using. For example, there is what we call the spiritual community, and they have a lot of words that they're using, phrases that are very much acknowledged within that community, but outside of that community, people might not know exactly what is meant by that. It could be perceived as vague, it just doesn't resonate with people. Even though the principle, what you're talking about in the language, would still apply to everybody, certain people just won't understand the language. For example, channel your inner divine or connect to your higher self. Other people, for them, the same thing might be connect to God or live in alignment, live your best version, be the best version of yourself, live righteously. All those are different words for the same thing, but if you pick connect to your higher self and you're talking to someone who's not familiar with the language of that spiritual community, it will not resonate. So really, in your interviews, try to isolate what kind of language are they using to describe their own problem or their own goals, and then use that language specifically to make them resonate with the offer. This one is probably the biggest one, so I want you to underline this really fat in your notes. For them, meaning for your target, their problem in their head is going to be equal to their symptom. In fact, most of the time, they don't know what their actual problem is. They only know the symptoms that they're experiencing. I'm going to say that again. For them, they don't even know what their problem is. The only thing that they know are their symptoms. What does that mean for you? That means that when you talk to them, you don't talk about their problem because they most likely don't know their problem. If they had known their problem, they would have done something already to overcome it. For example, if someone is not getting the results in their business and it's because they have a really negative mindset and they just give up very quickly and they just think, oh, maybe it's just because I can't write marketing copy and I'm just not getting the results, I'm giving up. Maybe I should just get better copy, the result is just not good enough. The real problem is a negative mindset, but they don't know that. You're just waiting for that magic prescription that's gonna fix it. What they do know is their symptom. So unlike speaking to their problem to say, are you having a negative mindset and not getting results in your business? Which is most likely not gonna do anything to them. It's not gonna speak to them. It's not gonna resonate to them. It's not gonna activate them. It's not gonna make them emotional. If you talk to them in their language, which is the symptom, and you say, are you not getting the results? And sometimes it just feels like you want to throw everything and quit. Now that is resonating with them. They know that feeling. They know that pain. Those are the actual thoughts that they're having. So now you're really hitting the nail on the head. And that's what you have to do across all your messaging. And here's the thing. If you're not specific about what problem you're solving and what the symptoms are and who it is for, you cannot describe the symptoms. That's why it's so important that everything up until the slide, you do all those exercises. So then I'm talking to 30, 50-year-old marketing executives who want to be acknowledged at work, get promoted, and make 25% more. Now you can talk to the symptoms, because now it's very easy, right? What are their symptoms? Every month when they see the paycheck and they see their outgoing bills, almost nothing remains because they have a family to feed, and it's frustrating. Every morning they drag getting out of bed because they're not getting acknowledged, and they feel undervalued, and it's extremely unmotivating. When they're at work, they're thinking to themselves, no one's even noticing me. Why am I even doing this? Well, I guess I have no choice. Those are the symptoms. Do you see how emotional it gets? Do you see how activating it is for people when they hear their symptoms? They go, yes, that's me. And that's exactly what you gotta do. So get really clear and do all the exercises up until now, because then it's going to be a piece of cake for you to identify the symptoms. If you're having a hard time really nailing the symptoms, and make a long list of all the symptoms that they have, or if the symptoms don't even align in themselves, or they're different, or they don't make sense compared to another symptom that you've written down, chances are you have not nailed the other things that we discussed before, like who's your target audience and what's your niche. Because if that is 100% clear, if you have nailed your value statement for the niche, then the symptoms should come very easy. If it's still unclear, then you have to go back and start again with a value statement where you fill out the blanks and you will come up with the symptoms. Okay, so here's an example. I help entrepreneurs change their mindset. It's not something that they would identify with because they don't even know it might be a root cause. They identify with the symptoms. So for example, what would be symptom is I help entrepreneurs who are so stretched thin with their time that they barely have time with their kids. Does that resonate with you? Probably yes, if you have kids and are an entrepreneur. So right away you're hitting a pain point on the head. Or I help entrepreneurs who are feeling overwhelmed and have a backlog of 500 or more tasks and want to get to 0 in less than 2 months. Nice. That's very specific. It talks about the symptom, it talks about the results, and it even gives them a timeline. Now that's an offer that's really great because you can combine the symptom with the outcome and even put a timeline to it. That's what you want to do. So remember, people don't want the problem. They don't want what's wrong with them and what to do with it. They want the outcome. So they don't want to change their mindset. They want the outcome. They want a successful business. They want more clients. They want more dates, if that makes sense. You know what the problem is. They don't know. So it's your job to deliver what the problem is and to fix it. But it's in the sales aspect, it's your job to repeat back to them their symptoms so they know that you're the right person. So instead of saying, I help entrepreneurs change their mindset, you can say, I help entrepreneurs get the same work done that it used to take them 5 days in less than 1 day. Or I help entrepreneurs launch in 50% of the time that they thought they needed to make their first sale. That's specific outcome. That's what they want. They see those results that you put in that sentence and they say, that's what I want. I want to launch in 50% of the time. Instead of working 5 days, I want the same results in 1 day. That makes all the difference. So again, results, that's another language. We have the symptoms, but we also have the results. You have to put the results in there, otherwise people don't care. You have a problem, for example, you're not getting clients every day, your calendar is empty. That's not an offer. What's the outcome, the result? Put it in there and be specific. Notice how all of these results are measurable. If you just say, I want people to reach the next level, to reach their next goal, to be the best version of themselves. It's not very tangible and it's not measurable. It needs to be measurable. So just, even if it's something inherently unmeasurable, give an example of how it would be measurable. It could be in time, it could be in number of clients, in dollar amounts, it could be in time saved, in savings added to their bank account, could be multiple things. But it needs to be an attractive outcome that justifies the cost of your offer. That's the main point. That's why it needs to be specific and measurable so people can measure what they invest versus the value that you're getting them. If they're not making a decision when you talk to them and offer them your solution, chances are you're not specific enough, so they cannot evaluate the outcome that they're getting versus the cost that they have to pay to get to that outcome. So that's on you. You have to make it very clear what the outcome will be so they can make an assessment whether that's worth their investment. In the end, we're all rational beings, and we're going to make an analysis, and that is the return on investment analysis, to make sure that the offer is worth their time and money. Last, I want to talk about pain points. So pain points are super crucial. We talked about symptoms, and I would say pain points is taking it one step further. Pain points are talking about a symptom and then asking the question, and what does that mean? And what does that mean? And what does that mean? And answering that for your target customer. For example, I help you save an additional $3,000 per year by teaching you to use tax loss harvesting before the filing deadline of April 1st, 2019. Start using this technique now and save $3,000 each year. That's nice. But what we want to do every single time we talk to a customer or we write an ad or we write an email or any kind of messaging is we want to mention their pain points and we want to rub them in. That's what I call the pain, agitate, solve formula. So what is the pain point? They're losing $3,000 in savings each year. Now, what does that mean? That's a question we ask ourselves. Well, that means I'm giving away $3,000 each year. Oh my God, what could I have bought with all of this? Oh my God, actually, I've been giving that away for the last 20 years since I've been filing. That's $60,000. So what? I could have made a down payment with that money on a house, and I could have invested this money rather than giving it away to the IRS. And with that house, I wouldn't be in the same position financially right now where I even have to worry about these things in the first place. Ouch, that is painful. And you want to rub that in. Don't feel bad about making your prospects feel the pain. They need to feel the pain of missing out on your solution. If they don't feel the pain, there's no urgency and there's no need to take an action. So every time you're communicating, whether verbally or non-verbally, written form or orally, you have to induce them with the pain of their current situation and their problem that they have not fixed. If you cannot do that, they're not being activated emotionally. And let's face it, we all make decisions emotionally primarily, and then we kind of rationalize them with our brain. But the emotions is really what makes us take an action. Think about getting married or going into a relationship. It's always an emotional thing. The biggest decisions in our life are emotional, and they convince us to do crazy things sometimes. Let's be real. So induce that emotion, that pain into your target customer. That is key, because you can then turn around and offer the solution to alleviate that pain. And that's going to be so much more attractive after they're actually aware of what they're losing. This is, if not the most important thing to take away here, is if you have not successfully sold your solution yet, you have failed in making your customer, your target, feel the pain of not having your solution. And that is either A, because they don't have a big enough problem, so maybe there is no pain, or B, you have not communicated effectively the pain that they have. Or C, the pain is lower than what your offer costs, and therefore it's not a good deal. So here's an example. If they don't act now, the pain will continue. So let's say for this offer of saving $3,000 a year, every year by the way, to get that process, that method of saving this will cost them $15,000 once. So already in their first year, they are saving $1,500 just by purchasing the course. And then every year thereafter, they're getting $3,000 in savings. That's a good deal. Once the person really fully understands the value and the cost with this simple example, they act immediately because they know that the costs of keeping the problem by far outweighs the cost of your solution. And that's the bottom line you want to reach with any of your customers. By the way, if you cannot reach that conclusion, you don't have a solid niche offer and target customer yet. You have not done enough work to define your offer for it to be a good offer. And keep in mind, it doesn't always have to be money. it can be indirect money. So the example, your course doesn't have to be about making money or losing money, but even with the recipes for busy parents and ordering system, for example, for food, if they subscribe, for example, for $200 monthly and they get a discount for meals or meal prep that's sent to the house, if that saves them 5 hours each week, that's 4 weeks in a month, that's 20 hours, depending on what this busy executive mom does for work. That's a lot of money in their pocket. Maybe she makes $400 an hour or $300 an hour times 20 hours. That can be expressed in money. So if your subscription is a fraction of that, it's a no-brainer. The mom wants time savings, money savings, and convenience. So once you have done your job in explaining that to them and making them feel their pain of missing out, it becomes a no-brainer. That's the point you want to reach. So if you reflect back now, if you have already started marketing your program and maybe have not seen the success yet, think back. Have you really been effective in communicating the pain points to the fact of articulating what they're missing out on, and how your offer, the value of your offer, is by far greater than the cost that they have to pay to get it? Chances are, if you haven't sold much yet, no, it's not been communicated effectively. And so even as we're going through this and as you're doing your homework and validating your offer, if you come across people that say, I'm interested, go through those things. Communicate the pain points. Tell them how you're going to solve their problem, why you're different, and what the outcome will be. That's pretty much the basics of selling, and it will work if you've defined it clear enough. So here are some good examples of pain points, just in case you are completely startled and you don't have any good examples. I always like to give some examples so it's easier for you to come up with your case. So for example, someone who has already invested a lot of money into a website, marketing materials for their business and business setup, but they have not sold any of their products yet, and you can help them get going. Then you can tell them, hey, clearly what you've been doing so far is not working towards your bigger goal of gaining clients or selling your product. So if you don't do something about this now, you might not get your investment back. But I can help you get your investment back, because with this solution that I have, this approach, you'll be able to overcome the lack of clients or the lack of sales. That's a good pain point, because everyone fears not getting their investment back. That is a pain point that they're having. That's 100% something that they're thinking. So you call it out and they're getting triggered. That's what you want to do. You want to trigger people. Second example is a person that needs a better approach for time management and invoicing. Maybe they have been procrastinating on sending invoices and it's been piling up. And if you've been in the service industry, you know that if you send invoices very late, sometimes people want to dispute them, or there's questions being raised, and it's just a big hassle. So it's always good to be on top of your invoicing. And if you have a solution where invoicing gets easy, it gets done right away, you can remove all that hassle. You can rub in the pain of not having that solution, which is every day that you're postponing to invoice your clients, the risk increases that some of your clients will not pay you at all or on time. And no one likes the idea of missing money that they have earned with hard work. So that's a real pain point that can be beautifully rubbed in. Worksheets. So that's where you get active again and you start doing the work. Everything that you learn in this lecture about the target audience, start writing it down. So under the slides define, I have given examples of how you can define your target audience depending on what kind of audience you have. So go ahead and define it in here or in your separate notes as best as possible. Next, what kind of language do they use? Really get specific and write it down as best as possible. The descriptions, the kind of words they use to describe their symptoms. They might be completely different from person to person. Write down all their symptoms. Like I said, they should be consistent, they should make sense, and if you're having a hard time writing them down here, chances are you have not done enough of the homework in the niche phase. So if you really perfectly define your niche and the value statement, coming up with their symptoms should be easy peasy. Outcomes. That's a big one. A lot of people get a lot of things right, but when it comes to the results, they're not specific enough, or they pick stuff that's not measurable. Don't forget that no one's going to make a decision unless they know what they're getting. No one's going to say yes to you unless they know or assume that what they're getting is bigger than what they're paying for. Otherwise, no one would buy anything. So take your time with this one and make sure that each of your outcomes and results is measurable. And go ahead and write down more than you think are needed, because we might have to weed through them. We might have to throw some out, and you might want to refine your offer and your results a little bit. So it's good to have more for each category than too little, because if you write it down and you don't have enough, then you have to go back to the drawing board instead of actually crystallizing what works based on what you've already written down. You definitely want to be prepared for the coaching session. Pain points. So what are the pain points of your target audience? Remember why that was important? Right. It's specifically to drive them to take an action. So if there's no pain, then there's really no reason for them to act at all, ever, or coming up this week, tomorrow. So you need to use pain points to really create a sense of urgency for them and to explain to them the pain you're feeling right now is not going to go away unless you take my solution. And really rub that pain in until you get feedback that your target customer is agitated about their pain. They have to be fully aware of it. They have to be fed up with it. They have to feel the pain of the persistent problem that they're having. Otherwise, they're not going to take an action to change. Like, for example, if someone is 30 pounds overweight, they might be happy with it. They might not have any pain over it. They might have pushed that pain far, far somewhere in their subconscious. But then when you trigger their pain points and you really bring them home and you go there with them and you say, remember all those moments where you could have played with your kids, but your weight and your fitness level just didn't allow to play with them the way you wanted to play with them. You couldn't lift them, your back was killing you. And all the other parents, they could play with their kids, but you just couldn't be there for your kid. That's going to be very painful for someone, for example, as a parent, where their weight, for example, is getting in the way of making a connection. And then give them the solution that is the antidote to that. Imagine yourself running and playing football with your kids, lifting them up, throwing them through the air. You know, it needs a certain kind of fitness to do that, especially if you're older. So those are things you can use for yourself. Write them down and be as specific as possible. And don't be short on this either. All right. So actually this should be nail your target. So how do you know that you nailed your target? You do the same thing. Now, based on what you've learned now with your target, you go ahead and you verify those 3 things: the symptoms, the pain points, the problems, the language, and also their price sensitivity. So pick again a bunch of people from your contact list, Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, and try to get at least 5 with this new feedback you have now about their symptoms and their problems and their pain points, and reflect that to them. Tell them, I'm designing this course and I'm trying to alleviate symptoms like 1, 2, 3, whatever you wrote down. And it's a problem for my target audience because they're experiencing not being able to play with their kids, having constant back pain as a result of being overweight, for example. And it's really killing them, whatever their language is. Reflect that back to the target audience and gain some feedback. Does it resonate with them? Does it not resonate with them? And why? Get that feedback and get in touch with your target audience. This is going to be the ultimate test, and you're going to have to get in touch with them anyway. So this is an easy way to get in touch with them early, build a relationship and rapport, and this is not for nothing. You can then give those people early bird access to your program, give them a little discount, give them a little incentive, and there you go. Those are your first customers. And on to the last part of our first week, your offer. So notice that the niche is really a broader container for you in which you can have multiple offers. For example, if you are a makeup academy school to teach people that are in the makeup business to grow their business on social media, you can have multiple offers. One offer might be on how to grow your business in makeup on Instagram. Another one could be how to grow it on Facebook. Another one could be how to grow it on YouTube. The offer is basically the nice packaging. There's a price to it, and it is for a very specific purpose in your niche. And your niche can include many offers. So today I want to talk about pricing, not so much because I think pricing is the most important thing, but I think it's important for you to understand it from a sales perspective. So let's say you have an offer, and that's a very common one that a lot of coaches offer, to say, I will teach you how to transform your 5-figure business into a 6-figure business in the next 6 months. It's a great offer. It's very specific. It's very easily expressed what the outcome is, and there's even a time frame to it. So how do you price this course? A lot of you guys might have already jumped into pricing your course. And maybe the way you did it is by looking at other people's course prices. And I'm here to tell you that that is okay, but it's not the best way to price your offer. Really, the cost of your offer should be as high or a little bit less than the value that people are getting from the offer. So I included this as an example to really help you think in this way and apply to your own offer. And this is a very monetary offer, but obviously you have to get creative to determine what is the value of your course expressed in dollars. For example, if you are teaching people how to get their teaching credentials in 1 year instead of 3 years, and they could be making as a teacher $50,000 a year already, and now you're saving them 2 years of not making that income. I'm totally making this up right now. That's $100,000 in savings. That's a big value. And then you price your course obviously below that, so it seems like a really good deal for what they're getting. I think you get it. And in this example here on the slide, you see, taking someone from $50,000 to $100,000 in their business. And let's say the course price is $10,000, which could sound to some people like a lot of money, but if we actually look at it, it's a very good price for the offer. So let's say someone is at $50,000 income, and they're willing to do the work, and they're going to be at $100,000 after the offer. That means they just gained $50,000, and that's just in 1 year. And so below I have the return on investment formula for you, the very basic one, which is, return on investment is the net profit divided by the total investment. So we calculate the net profit by taking the revenue. The new revenue for the people is $100,000 because they're going to make that per year, minus the old income, $50,000. So that is $50,000 more every year. And because it's net profit, we have to subtract the course price. That is $10,000. And then we divide it by the total investment, which is $10,000. So in this case, with a course price of $100K in this offer would have a 400% return on investment for this specific case. Now, if it's someone with $60K, that return on investment goes down. But again, unless we reach that break-even point of someone with a $90,000 income to get them to $100,000, it's still a positive return on investment, and that means your pricing is okay, it's good. Now let's take a look at a really bad example with pricing. Here's an example. For example, I will teach you how to save $10 each month in utilities. And it sounds like a good idea, but it's just such a small gains, and it would take 8 years for that course to pay off if the course price was $1,000. And just think about all the time and money you're going to spend into this course. It's just not worth it. So you just got to pick something that has a bigger value, a disproportionately high value for your people, and then think about the return on investment that they're getting, and be ready to articulate and communicate that, because without that, it's very hard for people to justify buying your offer. So here's a little checklist that I really want you to go over one by one. We'll have this later in the worksheets as well, but I just want to give you examples here. First one, are you speaking to the results and outcomes? This is a really crucial one. So are you, for example, saying, hey, I help you grow your business? Or are you saying, let me help you make your first $1,000 online? Chances are, if you're in the first department, grow your business, it's not specific enough. People don't know what the return on investment is because they don't know what it means. Grow your business by how much? 10%, 15%, 50%? And what's the business to begin with? They can't put a price on it. They're not going to be able to make a decision. So if you tell them, hey, make your first $1,000 online, independent of how much business they have right now, how big it is, $1,000 is very easy to comprehend from all walks of life, and they can easily assess your offer. So that's a great way to be specific. So think about your offer right now, everything you've written down, and double check, is it really specific? Next, are you mentioning the symptoms and pain points so they can identify with your offer? If you are marketing to busy executives, are you mentioning things like, is your email ticker stuck at 9,999 unread emails? Are you overworked? Are you ready to quit? Those are pain points. Those are symptoms. They see that on their phone every day and they think, oh my God, how am I going to work through those emails? This is the stuff that really resonates with people. So double check. Do you have really poignant, great symptoms that you can hit on for people to resonate with? Third, is your price of the offer lower than the price that they have to pay basically for keeping the problem? So for example, if they are losing thousands and thousands of dollars because they don't know how to invest their money every year, that's a real pain point. And if you can teach them in a quick course, let's say $200, how to already save $1,000 or to get returns of over $1,000 in the first year, that's a return on investment of $500 right there and then. So think about it. What is the price of your offer, and is it actually lower than the cost that they have to pay if they keep the problem? They're going to lose out on money every day. And if they pay for your offer once, they're going to lose a little bit of money, but after that, they're going to gain. So make that comparison and really think what that is. And then fourth, most importantly, even though you might know in your head that your offer price is lower than the price that they have to pay for keeping the problem, Are you communicating that effectively? How are you communicating that? Are you communicating it in their language? For example, some people might just think about money. Some people might say, oh, we haven't been investing our money and we have a family now and now we can't go on family vacation. That might be their language. You have to find that out. What is meaningful to them? How do they express symptoms? How do they express the loss of something that they could have had they had your offer? And there will be a worksheet about that later on. So here we are in our worksheet session. And I really want you to just stop and pause every time you're doing the exercise and really take your time. This is not a rush situation. So this is a checklist that I want you to go over to write down what is going to be your price. Specifically name and describe in their language what is the value that they're getting out of this offer to counterbalance the price part. And then really think about creative ways. It could be symbols, it could be ideas, fantasies of how you can express that value in dollar or in time, because we all know that time is money. And really give some examples of that time savings or the money savings, how that's going to add up over time. So for example, if you tell people that you can help them reach their 5-year goal in 1 year. What is that going to mean? That means early retirement, or for, let's say, their 10-year goal in 5 years. That could mean early retirement. It could mean more vacation. It means financial security. It means not worrying about bills. It means being able to put away money for savings and support your family. And how much money is that per month? How much money is that per year? What does that mean? How could that be invested in the language of your target audience? Next, I wanted you to check in whether you're really speaking to the results and the outcomes in your offer specifically. So specifically for this one offer, this one course you're creating or program, what is the result? And is it really measurable? Also, I want you to check in the symptoms and pain points. Are you really mentioning them so people can identify with them? Are you just talking about problems and what you know is their problem? Or are you talking about their symptoms that they see if they go through their day? Because it's very different, right? They might see an overflowing email inbox. They see angry coworkers. They see a boss that's not appreciative. What you see is maybe a mindset problem, that they're not asserting themselves or they're not asking for help. But are you communicating their symptoms and pain points? Write it down. And then, what's the price of your offer? Is the offer price lower? We already talked about that. Write that down and make sure you have it solid, because all of this needs to align for you to go in bulletproof and convert your strategy sessions into clients. And here we have just a little bit of a big picture view. So really take 5 steps back and take a look at the 3 elements that have to align. Your business, your clients, and your market. Does your client have a price sensitivity that matches your price? If not, you got a problem. Do your qualifications match the qualifications of your competitors, or do they exceed, ideally, the qualifications of your competitors? Make sure that in your market you define a niche where you can be best or second best. Otherwise, pick a different niche or niche down even further. You can always niche down further by picking, for example, an industry within your niche.
Those are easy tricks where you can dominate a niche, and that's what you need. So take a look at all those things, even also the prices of competitors. Does that match your price more or less? If it's completely out of range, how do you justify it with your qualifications, for example? Those are things to think about. All those different elements have to align to each other. They should not throw each other off balance because you're not in your sweet spot anymore otherwise. All right. And now I want you to get your hands dirty. So now it's time to get your hands dirty. My mindset is that of an unstoppable entrepreneur, and I see business opportunities everywhere. And you're gonna see business opportunities everywhere. Wherever you go, whether you're going to a networking event, to the grocery store, you're meeting with friends, tell everybody about what you are doing. And start specifically talking to people that apply to your target audience. Reach out to them in your contact list, reach out to them on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and contact at least 25 people, minimum. But don't stop until you have at least 5 sessions booked. And what I want you to do is, we're gonna set the bar really low. This is really just for you to take the time and to really listen to their problems. Ask them about the problem that you're trying to solve, and ask them about how that manifests in their day and what their problems are with that. And ask them what they would love as an outcome. What are the things that they want to accomplish in that regard? And write all of that down. Chances are for 30 minutes, they're just going to talk non-stop about themselves, which is great because you don't have to do anything and you can collect all that information. And then they're going to ask you, and so what do you do? And at that point, you are able to read them back the whole list of their symptoms and problems. And you're going to say, that's so interesting that you mentioned that you are constantly overworked, you have a to-do list of 100 things, and you can't seem to get down no matter what you tried. Because that's actually what I solve in my program. We take women with to-do lists of 100 plus, we get them down to 0 in less than 2 weeks. And if that was one of their biggest pain points and you just mention it back to them, they're going to be interested. They want your solution. And then, of course, you incorporate that into your solution. You incorporate that into your offer because that is valuable market research information. And that's how you're really going to make a difference in people's lives. So do this, and definitely do not skip this exercise. Because if you don't get yourself out there, if you don't talk to people, if no one knows about your solution, how are you able to sell it, right? So you're gonna have to put yourself out there. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be shy. It's okay to have hiccups. It's okay not knowing what to say. At least talk to people. This is so crucial, and you're gonna have to train that nerve. It's like going to the gym. You just do it. You don't fuss about it. You don't negotiate it. You just do it. And over time you build a muscle and it becomes easy and you get better and better and better. So this is what I want you to do. And this is not an optional exercise. You cannot skip this. This is what will make the difference in your business or not. If you choose to not put yourself out there. And here are just a few ideas of how you can get in touch and book strategy sessions. You can use LinkedIn. If you use the search bar in the bottom, you click on people, and then on all filters, there's a pop-up here where you can filter. So for example, I filtered for professors that work in marketing and advertising or higher education in the United States. You click apply, and then you get a whole list just with that target criteria. You can apply that to your clients as well. Next, there are LinkedIn groups. Just click on your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have one, definitely create one. Sales Navigator is also something I can highly recommend. But these groups are great to make posts, ask for help, ask for insights, ask for informational interviews. And Pick the ones that apply to your target audience, obviously, and get known and connect with people. Facebook groups are amazing as well. You see there's a lot of coaches that work with women entrepreneurs, for example, and you can easily join, become part of the community, provide value, get acknowledged, and then in return get feedback back from the people that are in your target audience. So I really recommend that. And the way to do that is put a post out on all your socials, but specifically also in those groups, saying something like, hey, if you are a blank who is struggling with, and then you put in the very specific symptom that they're struggling with, I can help. Send me a personal message to chat. And then you take it from there and you set up your session. So this is really it for week number 1. I am glad you made it so far. Please remember, if you have just watched the video by itself for informational purposes, go back and do the exercises. They're absolutely necessary for you to nail and own your niche, and for you to have everything ready that when you're on the phone with people, you know their symptoms, you can call out their pain points, and you can convert them. Without that, it's going to be a very shallow, non-engaging conversation. So you really need to have all that stuff ready for you to be able to make an impact when you talk to people to sell your solution. So see you next week. And I know that you're going to totally rock it when you talk to your personal clients. Bye.
Now we are at the target